Hey, so there's a 4-year rule that I like to abide by in my photography, and it's not that it's carved in stone or anything, but it's a personal anecdote that has saved me many, many headaches and has given me a lot of peace of mind over the last 12-ish years of my career. So, let's get into it. When it comes to this 4-year rule that I'm talking about, it's something that I've noticed has happened across many different types of disciplines or types of niches, whether that's being a creative, whether that's a tattoo artist, a musician. I use those examples a lot, but other ventures and other types of creative endeavors have a very similar 4-year rule, and year one really is all about soaking up and taking in everything you've got. Any hobby that you pick up, if you're year one, you are soaking up everything. Everything you hear is like, oh my goodness, that's the most important thing. I can't wait to learn more about this. Oh, there's another thing? I need to learn about this. Instead of seeing something that you don't jive with, just think of it as a different point of view and a ability to do a certain thing. When I was first starting out, do you think I gave a damn about pictures about products and pictures about like little things and moving my light by 1 inch this way to create an image? No, that wasn't at all what I was thinking of or shooting. I was going into abandoned buildings and trying to get cool little shots of graffiti that was there for 100 years. As a year one photographer, I feel like you have to remove all judgment. You have to remove thinking you know what it is that you know, because you don't. You should just be taking it all in so that you can use that knowledge in the future to say what it is that you want to say. But for now, there's no wrong answers. Just let's go. Bring it. There's a lot of parallels when it comes to school, like an undergrad degree, or when it comes to learning a certain sport, being good at a certain thing. You know, you think of junior high school, you think of university, you think of many little 4-year chunks where, it seems that our mind and our brains kind of work better when we compartmentalize and we separate these things, and it seems to be part of society to learn things in 4-year chunks. So use that for your photography. Use that as a way to set up yourself a little bit of a blueprint in order to give yourself that peace of mind. From the anecdotes that I've seen personally and from the friends around me, this seems to be a general consensus of how long it takes in order to be not successful, but at least be content with what it is that you actually do and what you're able to create. As a year oneer, you're soaking it in. You're taking it all in. It should be fun. Everything you do should just be about enjoyment and trying new things. Because if you're not trying new things even by year 10, that's how you get stagnant. That's how you'll never progress. So at the very least, year one, you should be trying. You should be experimenting. You should be doing things that people are telling you not to do. Do all of those things. There's an article from Graham Wallace that talks about the 4 stages of the creative process, which are preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification, which fall under this 4-year step as well. That preparation stage, that first year, is all about just taking it all in. You have to build that bank of knowledge because you're going to be pulling from it for the rest of your career or the rest of this time as a hobby photographer. Year 2. So congratulations, you've made it to your 2nd year as a photographer. You haven't given up on the idea that why is it so hard to take a picture that my iPhone just takes normally? Now you are incubating. You are taking in all this knowledge. You're taking in the experiences that you've been doing for the last year or so, and you're going to be on a path towards pushing those boundaries. Now it's, I took a couple pictures with flash, but what if I want it to look blue? What if I want it to look orange? What if I do 2 flashes? What if I try a little bit pushing my boundaries a little bit further? What if I only shoot backlit? But that what if I is taking in a little bit of the knowledge, realizing that there is so much more than you've even realized, and then pushing into one of those lanes, some of those lanes, all of those lanes. You sit with your knowledge, you explore those depths, and you try to dive into certain little corners of the photography that you actually enjoy, that you want to pursue. It's not until you've tried a bit of everything that you start to narrow down some focus. You're going to have a taste, or at least a style or a way of shooting that you prefer a little bit more than the others. And I'm not saying that you should only, all right, well, now I know exactly what I want, I'm only going to shoot this forever. You should still be learning. You should still be growing your grasp of all these technical skills, because there's a lot to learn. Trust me, you don't know it all. I'm saying it's a 4-year rule because by year 2, I don't think you know a whole lot less than you will at year 4. but your ability to break it out and your ability to use those skills and to push those skills is going to progress year after year. If you understand the exposure triangle, cool, so do I. That's about it. Like it's about pushing those boundaries and to using the technical skill that you learn in order to tell the story that you want to tell. By year 2, you're still only thinking about the camera. You're thinking about the lights, you're thinking about the techniques, you're thinking about all of the things in order to take a picture. And that's fine because there's a lot to think about. You need to have that and you need to keep practicing it. You wonder why things aren't working. You try a new thing and then you realize it doesn't work. It doesn't look like the way you wanted it to. And in year 1, you might have been like, that's fine. I like it anyway. But in year 2, you're like, you know what? No, I wanted it to look like this. Why doesn't it look like this? It looks like that instead. So you push and you try and you tinker and you build on those skills from year 1. Year 3, congratulations, you've made it to the 3rd year as a photographer. And Graham Wallace talks about this year 3 as illumination in the creative process. That is because you're building on year 1 of knowledge, year 2 of trying and practicing and doing new things and realizing, why doesn't this work? I want it to look like this. Why doesn't it look like that? More and more you do that, the more you're going to realize, oh my goodness, that's how you do this thing? Oh, you can also combine elements of this and that and create another new thing that didn't exist before. Like, it's a really powerful thing to be able to take pictures or take the technical ability that you've learned in years 1 and 2 as a photographer and actually apply them to real world scenarios. Now you're not just, if you have a person in front of a white wall, this is how you shoot it. Like, now you're starting to think about the story. You're starting to think about who you're photographing, what this thing can elicit in a viewer when they're looking at it, whatever that thing is, whether it's a pretty model or a Yeti cam. But either way, you are practicing, you're trying, and now you're finally getting results that you want to get. You're starting to think like, man, I'm starting to be pretty damn good at this. I'm making quite a bit of money. I've been charging some people. I just made $150 to take like an hour's worth of photos. That was insane. It's a great feeling. It's starting to finally grasp some of those technical skills. If you think of skateboarding, the first year, you're just learning to balance on this thing with 4 wheels. Now, second year, maybe you're pushing around, maybe you're ollieing up a curb, and it's not until the 3rd year that you're like, I thought the kickflip was like the easiest trick. Why does it take me so long to even push around and kickflip? Because there's a lot of other base fundamentals that we're growing on. And I think it's not until year 3 in photography that you reach that illumination stage, and so does, what's his name again, Graham? So does he, because it takes time to build all of these technical nitty-gritties that you're actually always thinking about until you just have them in your back pocket and you can just break them out when you need them. You're not thinking about all the little technical things, you're just, this is the situation that I'm in. I know that if I do this and that and this, it's going to create the result that I want. You're not going to be like that year 1. You're not going to be like that maybe even year 2. Even year 3 is tough, but it's going to take at least that amount of time in order to create something that you're probably pretty proud of. If you're happy about something in year 1, I'm sure you shoot something else a month later and you're like, oh man, that stuff used to suck. Now I'm really good. And now that stuff used to suck. Now I'm really good. That keeps happening. And I feel like it's not until that illumination phase that those images that you're starting to create in year 3 that actually start to make you feel somewhat happy or somewhat proud of the progress that you're making. You can look back at images from maybe 6 months ago and still be happy with them. That took a very long time. Like I'm 12 years into this career, and I can finally look back at images from a couple of years ago and be like, that's actually not too bad. There are some images from a couple of years ago that I still cringe at, but sometimes I can actually look back at some images from the past and be like, that was not so bad in 2018. It actually worked pretty well. But yeah, it takes those 3 years. It takes a little bit of time in order to reach that illumination. Year 4. Wow, you're about to graduate. Congratulations, buddy. Year 4 of your photography undergrad, in the real world at least, is verification. According to Graham Wallace, verification is the 4th step of your creative process, because now you're not just in your own head anymore. You're not just creating things that you wanted to create. You're solving problems for the people around you. You're maybe making some money at this. You are finally at a point where, damn, people are coming at me for a thing that I can do because other people can't do it. That's a cool feeling. That's a really neat feeling, but it's not something that you get right away. Just because you can expose an image is not why people are going to come at you to shoot in the first place. This verification year, or this stage 4 of photography, is where other people are finally starting to notice what it is that you're doing. Your work and your results are reaching further than your friends and family. The people who don't know who you are like, man, he's actually pretty good at photography. Whoa, she's really good at this. Yo, did you see what she just posted on Instagram? Because what the hell? I did not know she could do that. That's what it takes to make it as a creative, successful photographer. It's the time and the obsession for years and years and years in order to put that grind in, put the time in that other people aren't doing. If you want to stand out, you have to do things that other people aren't doing. And if you just enjoy watching YouTube videos and taking some pictures on the weekends, that's also fine too. But if you're pushing yourself and you want to be the best that you can be, and you're looking at your work and you're like, man, why is it not where I want it yet? Just keep putting the time in. And obviously, yes, this 4 years is maybe a little bit loose. It might take you 8, it might take you 16, it might take you 2. But it probably won't. It'll probably take you at least 3 or 4, just because it takes a little bit of time to build that comfort and the ability to perform under pressure. As a photographer, especially as a photographer who's getting paid, you're not always in the most ideal situations. You're not always in a wow, how could I take a bad picture here? If anything, it's usually the opposite. We're usually in a dingy situation and we have to make the best of it. And it's not until you have the knowledge of a couple years worth of trying this and trying that, and oh, how do you shoot something that's in a dark basement? Or how do you shoot something that's in a overly exposed white on white on white on white on corner window, top floor unit apartment? Like, there's such a scale of what it is that you can be asked to shoot, tasked to shoot, where you're going to shoot. So just soak up all the knowledge for as long as you can. And that's how you're going to be equipped at being a better photographer. And if you don't think that you're successful enough yet because you're on years 2, 3, even if you're on your 4th year and you're like, I'm not getting any verification, nobody's saying I'm good, I'm still... Relax. You'll be all right. It'll take time, but you'll get there. I think if you are obsessing over this craft for longer than most people, you'll eventually surpass those people if that's what you're trying to do. Thanks for watching. I know this may be a bit of a harder listen for some of you, but it's going to at least give you the knowledge in your back pocket that you need in order to keep going forward and keep understanding that, okay, there's more to learn. I'll get there eventually. It'll be all right. Let me know down in the comments how long you've been shooting for. I'd like to actually get a better understanding of who actually watches these videos. I know some of you have been shooting for longer than I have, and some of you has just picked up a camera, so just let me know who you are if you're still watching at this point in the video. Thanks for watching, by the way. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in a couple days. Later.